Hello and welcome. This is Swagger's Lifestyle. How are you doing? Hope you're good. Thank you for coming up and thank you for joining us on this amazing journey. So we're going to have fun. Yeah, this is the first of its kind. And I would just like you all to sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee if you have, grab your tea if possible. And if you have probably like a glass of non-alcoholic wine, that would be good. So welcome, this is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swagger's Lifestyle. How are you? How are you doing? So this is the first of its kind. We decided to go like, yay! so pardon me if you have, if you see like lots of things where you say, okay, Gbogbo Swagger, this is not pre-recorded. The pre-recorded one, you know how we flow and all of that. And you say, oh my days, oh, she's good. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's all about. But this particular one is live. So, all the flaws and everything is just all part of it. So we are just here, nothing formal. We are dropping down our hair and we are having this discussion. I don't know, everybody, I can see you. Thank you for coming on board. Yes, we're live now. Yay! So today, let me just go straight to it. I'm going to be having like a discussion with a friend. She has a YouTube channel too. Her name is Candy Musa. So you all can follow her on her YouTube channel. She talks about hair. She talks about food. Then actually life as a mother too. She does all of that on her YouTube channel. So let me just ask her to introduce herself. I think I'm all over the place. So Candy, please, could you just introduce yourself? Thank you.
Okay, hi guys. So like Funke said, my name is Candy Musa. I also have a YouTube channel, like she said, it's Candy Musa. I am a mother of two, a wife. I'm a business analyst by profession, and I'm also a YouTuber. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we're actually excited to have you here because we're going to have a very wonderful conversation. So, Mr. Shagun, thank you for coming on board. Thank you so much. I think once we start, and we have to start going deep dive into this discussion. We'll have other people come and join us, on this conversation. So, what we're talking about is the dramatic increase in divorce rates. This is a topic that we need to talk about because a lot of people are just going on their normal journey and all of that, and they feel that life happens. Yes, life happens, but are we going to sit back and continue looking at things going bad and we feel we shouldn't talk about it? No, I think we should talk about it because years before the divorce rate wasn't this high, but now any little thing you see some funny stories, 3 months, 1 month, some 5 days, and you sit back and you wonder what happened, what really went wrong and all of that. So I think we really need to have this conversation because once we have this conversation, all of this divorce rate, because the family unit is key. The family unit is what brings about strength in the society. So if the family unit is under attack, then society is under attack and the world at large is under attack. What do you think about that, Candy?
Well, you're right. So the rate of divorce is really
Hi,
high.
Candy, are you with us?
I am. I can hear you.
So I have this long list that I actually penned down concerning what causes divorce. So let me just go straight into it and then maybe we'll just start the discussion from there. So I think what caps it all for everybody is when you see people send out statements about why they got divorced and they're doing an announcement of being divorced. It's so bad that some people go as far as doing a party. And I'm like, okay, wow, like a party of I'm divorced or just got divorced. It's funny, but most times what people talk about is irreconcilable differences. That word has suffered in the dictionary. So that is, I think, the king of everything. And then apart from that, we have cases of communication, we have cases of compatibility, we have cases of finance, we have cases of submission, we have cases of sex, we have cases of people growing apart, lack of commitment, maturity, option B, domestic violence, infidelity, unresolved conflicts, unwanted pregnancy, and I think arranged marriage. So I think those are the heads or most of the reasons why people actually get divorced. So I think, what do you think? Let's pick up the discussion from there, Candy. What do you think?
Okay, yeah. So all those things you have mentioned, all those things you have mentioned.
Okay.
I think there's someone else on the call.
Yes, I think there's someone else on the call that is talking. Please, could you mute your mic? I apologize, everyone. Sorry, I think there's an external discussion somewhere. I don't know what's happening. Okay, welcome. Sweet All-Star, glad to have you here. So over to you, Candy.
Yeah, so like I was saying, everything you have said and all the factors you have actually mentioned, yes, they are really what is affecting marriages today and is leading to a divorce. But I personally feel like it's more of when you miss from the foundation, when you get it wrong from the foundation, that's where the problem is. And I'm not even talking about like already in the marriage. I'm talking about right from courtship. You know, people get married for a lot of reasons, which some of them are good reasons, some of them are not really good reasons. For example, there are people who get married just because of pressure, not just from family, from society, peer pressure as well. Their friends are getting married. Everyone is getting married. So I want to be married as well. So the moment you make that decision based on not because you're ready or not because you think this person is the right person for you, already you're already missing the foundation. The foundation has to be solid, because if you get into marriage without a solid foundation, already you're moving on a shaky ground. So any little turbulence, definitely you're going to fall, because let's face it, marriage comes with its ups and downs. So these things you have mentioned are obviously the ups and downs that come in a marriage. But once there is love, there's understanding, there is commitment from each partner, when those obstacles come, you find a way to work around it and you overcome it. So if you miss the foundation, you get married for the wrong reasons. There are people who get married for financial stability. They've met somebody who they think, yeah, I think this person is my ticket to having a better life. So even if they see red flags, this person is not good for me, or this person even is abusive, domestic abuse. Some people, if you actually go to find out how those problems started, you'll find out that it's actually before marriage. You saw all those things, you ignored them, and then you got into the marriage with the hope that it would change, which is another problem. If you get into marriage with the hope that you want to change a person, obviously you're moving in the wrong direction, because a person will only change if he wants to change, not because you want him to change. So I personally feel like if you miss the foundation right from the onset, then obviously the marriage is not going to last. And another most important thing is, if you don't make God the center of your marriage, if whatever you do, no matter how much you try, it's not going to work, because
that's true.
This life is just too hard for you to go through it without God. Do you understand? So imagine you in a marriage and there's no God in it. Obviously, it's gonna crash. So let me not take over the discussion. But for now, this is just I feel like the foundation it has to be solid. If it's not solid, then I'm sorry.
I like what you're saying. I like this angle you're bringing into it, because there's a part of the Bible that says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So everything is hinged on foundation. So the question is, why are you marrying the person you are marrying? What is the reason why you're going into that marriage in the first instance? Like you said a lot of people marry for different reasons. And if you're just married, say, oh, because I love him, oh, I'm in love. Because we know that we have people say that even in marriage, love is not enough. So what happens when that love doesn't?
That is absolutely true. Love is not just, see, if you are actually getting married just because you love the person, if that is the only reason you have, I'm sorry, love fades, you know. What keeps you going is friendship, you know, the promise you have made to that person. But you have to have a level of friendship and understanding with somebody before you even think about committing and making promises to that person. If there's no level of friendship and understanding, even when you make a promise, it'll be so easy for you to break that promise anyway, because people make promises and they break them. You know,
Yeah,
so
correct.
love on its own is not enough. A lot of things have to align. You guys have to, your dreams, your what you want to, your achievements, they have to align. If there's somebody might want to have 4 children and you want to have just one, and you have no business getting married, because by the time you get married, he wants to have 4, you want to have one. That's where the problem starts. Do you understand? I've seen a story of a couple who got married. The lady doesn't want to have children and the man wants to
Okay.
have. So already they're having issues because she doesn't want kids and he wants kids. But and I kept asking myself, isn't this things you should have discussed before even considering coming together? Do you understand? That's why I
That's
said
true.
have to align. If those things don't align, already there's a problem. So you guys have to be on the same page. That's why there's nothing that is too little for you to discuss before you commit to anybody. Even things as little as, what school will our kids go to? Do you want them to go to private school or
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 a public school.
honestly, things like that are important. If you want your kids to go to a public school and I want my kids to go to a private school, you know, obviously, like I have to put in more work, you know.
Yes.
We have to have a plan from the beginning. How do we save towards our kids going to a private school? So things like that are things that couples should talk about, because if you don't talk about it and you get into the marriage, that's where problems start. And somebody else, there was a comment I saw, I think it was on Instagram, and somebody said our generation we lack patience.
Hmm.
They said our generation we lack patience. That's why it's so easy for us to
I'm out. I can't do this no more. I'm out. You know what? I'm out.
what am I doing here? Don't stress my life. I'm leaving. Do you understand? You know, yes, I kind of agree. We lack patience, but at the same time, we don't respect the institution of marriage, which is why I said a lot of people just get into it for no, there's no solid reason why they're getting into it. They're probably getting into it because, like I said, everybody's getting married. Let me to be a Mrs. Well, you
I
know,
just want to be a missus. Yeah.
I want to be somebody's wife. Or some people just get into it because they want to have children, and the moment they have children, they've lost interest. Do you get? So I don't think, I kind of agree. So I'm more of 50-50. Yes, we lack patience, but at the same time, I think it's those factors that made us get into the marriage. The moment those factors are not there anymore. For example, if you got married for the finances and the finances are not there anymore, it's so easy for you to leave, because that was the reason why you came into the marriage. If you came just to have children, now you have the children, you really don't have interest in that person, so now it's just easy for you to go, you know. So there's just a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay, so since this what's it called? This live session is actually an interactive session, and we have people commenting in the live chat. I would like to welcome the people that have commented and then pick some of their comments and then throw it out in the open. So please, if you are listening, if you have comments on this discussion, please drop it in the comment section. We'll talk about it, raise it, and then, you know, have this discussion together. So I would want to welcome Adeoluwa Bubwade, Shegwamoba, Sweet Oster, Olapeju, Tyrannos School. Tyrannos School says, great weekend, or love this discourse. Then we have Babatunde Popola. He says, I like what she said about foundation, wrong reasons, seeing the red flag, but hoping to change him or her later, which may not materialize. That is true, because the truth is that you can't change an adult. There are two different people coming into that house. You can't change an adult. It's not possible. Then we have Tyrannos who say, God foundation, Christ must be head of the home. which is true. That is very true, because she talks about God, the God factor in marriage. Then we have Madam Olufumilayo. We got a day. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. So please, you all, if you are here, you could drop a comment so that I could, acknowledge you. And Candy looking so fresh. Okay, yeah, Candy looking so fresh. Yes, she is. Her husband is doing a good job. Okay, so thank you so much. So every other person that hasn't dropped a comment, please drop a comment and then we'll take it from there. Now, there was something that happened, yeah? A particular person was getting married and she was, okay, everybody was all caught up in the euphoria of the wedding. So I think we have to talk about that because people put a lot into the wedding and not the marriage. We are going to talk about that. So everybody's talking about, oh, we're picking this color, we're doing that, as an event planner now. So we're in the mix of everything. And the person goes, how, you know what, let's do this, but I have an option. And I said, okay, you have an option, I don't understand. I said, if this is not working, I'm going out. And I said, okay, you've not even started. You're already having an option of going out. So why come into the marriage with a plan B already that if this doesn't work, I'm leaving? So you're not even supposed to even say I do, because you already have it in the mind that you are leaving. So you're not even ready to work on anything. Probably maybe as little as you have a conflict and you can't face that conflict. You said, you know what, I'm out. So what do you think about that?
Well, it all boils down to getting married for the wrong reasons. Because like you said, she's not even in and she's already thinking about, I have an option to leave. Do you understand? Which comes our generation not being patient. She's just thinking like, you know what, I'm not going to see, not what I feel is nothing good comes easy. That's just the fact. Nothing comes easy. So marriage as well. Marriage is a beautiful institution if you get into it for the right reasons. So if you value that thing so much, you would fight for it. And fight for it, meaning if obstacles come, you're willing to face those obstacles together as a couple. Me, I always say, people say, marriage is 50-50. I don't believe marriage is 50-50. Marriage is 100%. Don't bring your half-baked self to a marriage. Bring your 100%, When you bring 100% and your partner brings 100%, then you guys will function well. It's not about 50%. You're not bringing half of yourself. You're bringing the whole of yourself.
The whole of you.
Exactly. And then one thing I learned the hard way is when you start to face problems in marriage, which I have, when you start to face problems in marriage, you forget that you have a problem. You are a couple and you're facing this problem. You forget that. And it now seems like it's you and your partner against each other. So instead of you to come together and fight the obstacle and the challenges you're facing, you start to fight each other, because at that point, obviously you're under so much stress. And instead of you to see the obstacle, you're seeing your partner as an obstacle. So instead of you to fight the obstacle, you're fighting each other, forgetting that the obstacle is there. Do you understand? I learned that.
This is what you said now is super profound. You're not supposed to fight your partner. You're supposed to deal with that challenge. Your partner is supposed to be in your corner.
Thank you. You're actually not the bad guys. Your problem is the bad guy, but you at that time, because you're under so much stress, you forget that is the problem that is the enemy. You see your partner. So the things that would normally not annoy you will start to annoy you. The things that you would normally not complain about, you will start complaining about it because there's an obstacle and you're thinking it's because of you that is happening. And he's thinking it's because of you that is happening, forgetting that life just happens to people. And at that time, you're supposed to come together, be on your knees, pray together, face that problem as a couple, not fight each other. So those are things as well that honestly nobody tells you. Marriage doesn't come with a manual, like I always say. Something that it's like we learn on the job, as life.
My dad always says this, that marriage is an institution where you are giving your certificate first. Before
Exactly. Before you actually go through the training and whatever, it's true.
you have the certificate.
Nobody has the manual for it to tell you this is how it is and this is how you should handle it. Sometimes you just have to ask God for wisdom. You just ask God for direction on how to handle problems and situations when they come, because those are the things that you will face that if you're not careful, it will break you, you know. But if you are patient one, you seek for guidance and direction from God, then you'll probably find solutions to your problems. But a lot of people forget we have a problem and they fight each other, and that's how they keep going apart. And before you know what, I can't take this anymore. I can't tolerate you anymore. I want out, and people are out.
So yeah. What do you think about the older generation? Because the older generation, people were getting divorced, but just it wasn't this drastic. Because now I feel the number per day is very, very alarming and scary. So what do you think they did that we are not doing? That is, the first thing we want to talk about. But wait, Candy, before you go, I have some other comments here that I want to read. So we have Madam Olufumilaya saying, GS, your hair is so nice. Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So happy to be here. We're happy to have you here. So we have Honor Jakem Mamus Joseph. He said the fact that people have an option B is a major reason why marriages end up in divorce. That is true. We have Olakweju saying 100%. Thank you so much for that. So Candy, over to you. Can we have that discussion?
Yeah, so the older generation, I don't want to go into that one because their marriages lasted, some of them for the good reasons, some of them for the bad reasons. There's a lot of our parents that live in a very horrible marriages. They didn't have, they just stayed. Do you get? I personally feel like marriage is forever. It's something that you should try as much as you can to make it work. But two things I always say I wouldn't entertain in a marriage is, one, abuse. Because I don't know how to, there's this proverb we say in house that I'm trying to see how I can translate it for it to make sense. It's only somebody who is living that will be in a marriage. That's what to try and explain it for you in simple terms. So if you're in a relationship and one day, God forbid, bad thing, you die, that marriage has ended either way. So I feel like domestic violence is one reason that you should not stay in a marriage, no matter how I don't know, just leave. That's my own reason, just leave. Okay. And then number two is infidelity, and this is my reason, not because he's cheating, but you don't know the people he's cheating with. He might just pick up one disease and come and give you. He has still killed you either way. Do you understand what I'm saying? So those two reasons, I feel like I'm sorry. This is ticket for me to go.
Okay, so I get you. I hear you. But yes. We have people that say when your spouse is cheating, now cheating and infidelity is wrong. You understand? Because even whatever way we are looking at it from is wrong, right? So, but we have people that say how probably maybe it was a mistake, and then he just did it, and then he's sorry, he's coming back to say, you know what, I did this, or you caught him, and I'm sorry, please let's make this work and all of that. So at what point do you give like a second chance or a third chance, or is it just you catch him, you're cheating, boom, I'm gone, no more, I can't take this?
No, well, you just said a mistake is something that is done. If I look at you and I give you a slap, Funke, I'm sure you'll be like, why did you slap me? I'll be like, oh, Funke, I'm sorry, it's a mistake. I'll be like, okay, probably is maybe there's something wrong with her, it's a mistake. And then I slap you again. Is that a mistake the second time?
Let's ask our audience. What do you think? Because I think the guest is really, really stuck on infidelity. I'm out. I'm not doing this.
No, I'm not stuck on infidelity. I'm out. I'm just trying to go to the fact that you said, what if it's a mistake? Mistake to me is something that is done. If you make a mistake once, I might just understand that, okay, yes, it's a mistake, probably he just did it. And let's even look at it. Did you realize it was a mistake after I caught you, or you yourself realized, oh my God, I shouldn't have done this thing? And you said, okay, you know what? I've done it and I'm really remorseful. I'm sorry I've done it. That is somebody who is actually, maybe it just happened. Maybe he fell. He has allowed the devil use him. I can understand that. But if you're sorry only because I caught you, I'm sorry. It wasn't a mistake. You're only sorry because you got caught, which is number one. And then number two, if you've done it more than once, more than 2 times, more than 3 times, it's no longer a mistake. Please read the comment since you're laughing.
You need to hear this. Okay, so Olapeju says, I beg, leave all these mistake things. Oh my God. Wow. So we have Madam Olufumila saying, I feel mistake, no. Okay. So Tirano School says, domestic violence can first be approached with separation. Pray and seek help for reconciliation and restoration. So I think Tirano School is the pastor. So we're having the pastor side come in. Olapeju says, thank you. Some are only sorry they were caught. So, yes. Okay, so we're going to come to that part of domestic violence. But before then, let's really talk about this, the case of infidelity. Now, yes. I think I really don't like it when I hear people say, because most times when a man cheats, the wife is always to blame. They go how she did not give it to him well. They go how she's not giving him peace of mind. They go how she's not this, she's not that. So why is it that the woman is always the one taking the blame in a case of a man going to cheat?
Listen, in the society that we live in. Oh, okay. You have a second. Go on. Let me hear your second. Okay.
Yeah. So secondly, I have an issue with, I think maybe the case of infidelity because there are some men that they are serial cheats, and right from the courtship, maybe you are saying it, but you are saying, no, I don't think so. No, or once you marry, you will change. I'm not talking about those men. Those men are actually, one of a kind. Well, let's put them just in one corner. Now, when a man, if I feel maybe communication in a marriage is key. When you are communicating as spouses, even if the wife is lacking somewhere, once you guys are open to each other and you're talking real talk with each other, you should be able to mute it, or you should be able to tell the person that, oh, I think we have a problem in maybe you nag me too much, or maybe our sex life is not too good, or maybe there's so many things that you do that I feel that, or maybe you're not giving me attention, because a lot of women have this problem that once kids come in, they dump the man. The man, as far as they're concerned, they can't be bothered. They carry that love and they put it on the kids. So can we talk about this?
Well, when it comes to, I wouldn't say dumb completely, but it's a thing of, it's just your maternal, this is the way God created us. Do you understand? When it comes to love for our children, I'm sorry, I don't know the word to use, but
there should be a balance, because before the kids came into the picture, you were with that man, and after the kids go, they are back to being with that man.
Yes, I totally get that, but some men as well are being very, very unreasonable. Do you understand?
Okay, how so?
Yes, because you have a wife who, I'll say some men, not all. Because I've seen this wife, she has now given birth, she has kids, she's running after this children, helter-skelter, during the day, and she's still the one cooking, cleaning, running after the children. You, that husband, you're literally doing nothing. Maybe you go to work and come back. Some men don't believe that taking care of children is a full-time job. It's one of the hardest jobs based on surveys, one of the hardest job in the world. But men feel like once they've gone to work and they've come back, then they don't do anything anymore, which is really unfair. So if you're going to leave the woman to run around, after the children,
skelter, doing all of that with the octopus hand,
you know, she will still cook for you. She will still clean the house. She will keep everywhere tidy and take care of your children. And then in the night, you also want her to give you affection. I'm sorry, she's tired. Do you understand? She is tired. No, we're just being realistic here. If you and I are partners, I understand that you went to work and you came back. Even if it's just, you know what, you relax while I put the kids to sleep. Do you understand? I'll give them a bath and let them go and sleep. Do you know what? You have given me, even if it's just 30 minutes for me to relax. By the time it comes to the bedroom duty, I am happy that my husband, you know, even though he went to work, came back, he assisted. Even if I'm tired, I'll be like, you know what? I'm happy he did this. Let it happen. Do you understand? But when you have children, before she gave you all the attention because she doesn't have extra work that she's doing. There's nothing that's taking up her energy, but now there's just so much. And there's some women who do this and still have careers. Do you understand? They have their own businesses they're doing. They have other things they're doing that's bringing them income. They're still taking care of the kids. With all these things they're doing, and you say, oh, so sometimes it has to have a balance as well. That's why I say, bring your 100%, let me bring my 100%. When you see me struggling, help me. So that when it's time for me to help you too, I will not start thinking, why should I help you now when you did not help me? Do you understand?
I get you. So we have a lot of comments. So let me just read them. I like the angle. So I think it still boils down to what? Communication. That's the truth. Yeah. Because you have to have that you have to have that discussion with your husband that I think you need to help me, because a lot of men, they feel that the woman is the helpmate, which is true. She's the helpmate. And she's the support system. So they feel that it is her job to do all of these things. Like, that's your role, that's your responsibility, do it. You understand? That's what she's doing, like the woman.
She's not an octopus. She doesn't have 6 hands to do all those things. Do you understand? And there's only one person. You don't expect one person to do all this and still be, 100% when you need that person. If you make her too tired, she's going to be a grumpy. A lot of women nag because they're just tired, not because of anything.
They're tired, they're frustrated, they're spent, they're burnt out.
When you have toddlers, you will understand. Toddlers will make you go mad. At that point, you're just behaving like a crazy person. So you need your me time. I always preach this, you as a human being, you should have a me time. When you have a me time, like, you're taking care of yourself, because let's face it, you can't pour out of an empty jar. You have to keep. If you keep pouring and you're not adding into it, one day you're going to run dry and there won't be anything for you to pour anymore. But as you're giving, you're also receiving and taking care of yourself. Mentally, you're sane. You're not always tired. If mothers will tell you, majority of the time they scream on their children, it's not even because of what the kids have done. It's that frustration of being tired. They're looking for where to vent their anger, and it just comes pouring out. So women, I don't know how to put it, but
okay. So we have a lot of comments. So let me take them. So we're still going to talk about the approach of separation to domestic violence. We'll come to that. So we have Olakuji says thank you. Some are only sorry they were caught. Then we have Babatunde Popola. He said, system like politics, religion, etc., can be directly or indirectly traced to dysfunctional family and marriage. That is very true.
The line went quiet a little bit, so I didn't hear the beginning part. What did he say?
He said most problems in other parts of the system, like politics, religion, etc., can be directly or indirectly traced to dysfunctional family and marriage. Then Olapejo says, nah. See all those hot celebrities that still get cheated on. Cheating starts from the mind until the actual act. Now only God, oh, my sisters. That is true.
I saw one comment that somebody said if Beyonce and one other celebrity, the person called, can be cheated on, then every woman can be cheated on. And which to me is actually true. A man cheating has nothing to do with you as a woman. And I hate the fact that society tried to blame women for everything. If a woman is raped, they will ask her what she was wearing. If a man cheats, they will ask you, oh, why are you always nagging him at home that sent him out to other women to go and cheat? Do you understand? So there's always something to direct it back to the woman, make it seem like it is our fault or it is something that we have done that has made this man behave in the way that he's behaving. Meanwhile, it has nothing to do with us.
I think that's the problem with yours. I can't hear you.
No, you are actually frozen as well. I couldn't hear you for a minute.
Oh my days! Blame it on network. Sorry.
I can hear you now, but your screen is still frozen. I don't know if it's just me that can see that.
Oh, I think I can see you are frozen actually on my screen. I'm moving on my screen, but you are frozen.
Okay, now
so you're back.
Yeah, so I just hate the fact that society tried to blame the women for the things that the men have done. If they should start taking responsibility for their actions. You know, whatever you do, we're all adults, and whatever we do or did, we did it willingly or are doing it willingly. So we should be responsible and say, I did this and I did it because, okay, I wanted to do it, not because somebody made me do it, because nobody can make you do anything. Like me, I'm an adult. If I don't want to do anything, you can't make me do it. And if I do it, I'll take responsibility for it because I wanted to do it. Do you understand?
That's true.
So society should stop. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take other comments. So we have Adeoluwa Gbogbo say cases of abuse is way more than in the days of old. The causative factors are higher in these times. Lord help us. So we're going to talk about cases of abuse because there are different types of abuse. There's the mental abuse, there's the physical one. I think the mental abuse is even worse than the physical one. Oh. That's the truth. So just pin that comment in your mind. We were going to revisit it. So we have Babatunde Popola saying, there is no perfect marriage and no marriage is like another. Yes. So couples should stop comparing partners. That is true.
That's another thing as well.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. Then we have Olajake Mamu say, now me see you first before children come. Balance between the children and your husband. Give your husband serious attention. This is coming from a man.
Well, I understand his sentiment and where he's coming from, but you as well as the man, what are you doing to help your wife stay? How would I even put it? For her to have the energy, for her to be with you 100%. Don't forget, before the children came, she wasn't tired. So she had all the energy, she had your time. But now that the children have come, you should have seen that, okay, she has so much work on her hand. Help her so that you guys can help each other.
Okay, so vamos try as much as possible. This is another counter argument. What are you doing? So men out there, what are you doing to help your wife in the home front so that when it is time for all the love and love and love, but I think even what's it called, couples at some point, they need to take time out to bond, carry the children, take them to maybe like the grandma's place or your sister's place or your brother's place or someone that you trust so that the two of you can actually spend time together, rekindle the love, rekindle the fire and all of that. Because most marriages break up after the kids have gone because both of them have grown apart. They see themselves as strangers in the house. So you're wondering that, okay, so what do I say to him? What do I say to her? Okay, what's happening? You know, and all of that. And they feel that they're not supposed to be together anymore. And they say they are going. And you say, after 50 years of marriage, 40 years, are you okay? What are you looking for? You know, so I think one of the most shocking divorces that we had in recent time is one of your kids. After so many years together, you guys ran a business together. You're not saying you are not doing. You will how? You will stay there now. So I think we really, really, really need to strike a balance, and couples really need to. There's kids. There's career paths. There's your life as an individual, you are providing, there's your own career, there's your family members and all of that. But in all of this mix, you have to find time for each other. Take time out to go on a trip together without the kids. Take time out, maybe even weekends, do like a weekend getaway, rekindle the love, that fire that you saw, right from the onset. So let's take other comments.
Yeah. No, I was just going to add to what you've just said, which is absolutely true. Talking about finding a balance and having time for each other. I remember initially, like when the kids first came, I was overwhelmed with even having my son. So it's always about him. Everything I did was him. Do you understand? And of course, at that time, I'm a new mother. I didn't know how to, when you don't know how to navigate life as a mother, you just have to take it one day at a time. And at that point, you're only thinking about how to make this little human happy. Every other person is secondary at that point. But over time, I now started to understand that, yes, the man was there before the child, so we need to find a balance. So from when my son turned 1, I developed this habit of making him go to bed at 7 o'clock. So winter time, because winter time it gets dark early, and summertime it gets, like now you can see it's still bright.
Yeah, I can see it's still daylight.
So summertime, I'll make them go to bed at 8 o'clock, but wintertime, they go to bed at 7. And regardless if they're on holiday or it's a weekend, is their standard sleeping time. And this is my reason. This is the time that we have, me and my husband, to catch up with one another. Like, oh, how was your day? What happened today? Try and see a movie together. Even if it's just to gist, we gist. That way, at least we have our own time without the children, which really help. And we live here in the UK, we don't have the luxury of having one auntie, grandma, or uncle somewhere to go and say, can you watch the children while I go out? Because the money you will use to go and give childminder, when you think about it, you would keep the money inside your bank account and sit down at home. So we have to create that. We have to create that time for each other, even if it's 2 hours or 3 hours before bedtime. It helps. It's better than nothing at all. When you keep your children till 9, 10 o'clock, by the time they're going to bed, you're also tired and there's no time for you to sleep, and you just want to go and sleep. So you also have to look for a routine that works for you, so you can find a balance and be there for one another.
That makes sense. I like that. So let's take other attention. Let's take other comments. So we have okay, Madam Fumilayo says, let's not be gender biased. Let's not be gender biased about cheating. Women cheat too, and it takes the grace of God to detect. That's true. Women too, they cheat. This
comes from both ways. We're not here saying it's only the men that cheat. You're absolutely right. Women cheat as well. Whoever it is that is cheating, my take on this is, I'm sorry, protect yourself, because you don't know the people this person is mingling with. This person will pick up some disease and come and give innocent you that is at home. That's just the problem I have with that. Either the man or the woman, it's not right. Infidelity, cheating is not right at all, whatever gender that it is that is doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I tell people that if you are going to cheat in your marriage, why marry? You don't need to marry. You don't need to give someone that commitment of I do if you know that you're still going to cheat on the person. So you don't have to put that person through that mix, because the truth is, whoever it is you're cheating with, be it the lady or the man, do you know who that person who is cheating with cheating on you with? So it's more or less like it's a chain of so many bodies, which is unnecessary and which is wrong. So I think the issue of infidelity in a marriage is something that should be spoken about, because like Olakuju said, he said it starts from the mind. You will sit down and start. You don't just get up one day and cheat. It's gradual before you now dive into it. And then we have cases of men that are serial cheats, and you see how sometimes mothers will tell their daughters, sit down, there is a man is wired to cheat. I don't believe that. I don't believe that when God created man, he said, I'm creating you as a man and I'm putting into you the ability to be cheating.
Except it's not the God that we serve. The God that we serve.
I don't know the God you're talking about, because the God that I'm talking about did not create somebody like that. So the truth is that men that are cheaters in their home, they should check the state of their mind. And every one of us, even both the man and the woman, there is something lacking in their life, which is self-control. Yeah. And that they do not fear God. I've heard men that say that they did not cheat on their wife because the wife is pretty, beautiful, and all of that. But they did not cheat on the wife because they fear God. They can't do this wickedness in the eyes of God. So that is the angle. If you fear God, you understand, you will not stand up and go and say, out of the commitment that you have actually committed between yourself, God, and people, you are going to go and be carrying people up and down. You won't do that.
That also boils down to not respecting the institution of marriage, because if you respect the institution of marriage and you remember that you stood not just in front of people, but in front of God. That's what people forget, that you stood in front of God and you made a vow. I don't know if they understand that, the meaning of that. You stood in front of God and you made a vow to God and to that person. So for you to now go back and disrespect, you're not disrespecting the person, you're disrespecting God as well.
Disrespecting God.
You did.
Okay, so Adeoluwa says, cheating goes both ways. The rates at which married women cheat these days are alarming. Please, let's discuss from both angles. So yes, we're talking about both angles. Olakwejo says, husband too should help to create the balance. It is not rocket science. If she has used all her energy to look after your children without help from you, she can't have energy at night.
Thank you very much.
That's valid.
So we can help ourselves. Do you understand?
Let's help each other to help each other to help ourselves. So Kike Lights Beauty Efenyi says, so I think he choke. So Onaja Kemamu says, even when the man tries to help, support, and be there, most women are too superwoman in nature and have been blinded by their ego. Wow. Really?
Those are the narcissists we're talking about.
Are you married to a narcissist?
Oh.
So I think here we're talking about normal human beings, not the narcissist. Because I don't think if, as a woman, I see my husband trying to help me, I'll be ego-driven to say how I can do it all by myself. I can't do it all by myself. I need help. Because no man is an island. Even the husband needs help concerning certain things.
Oh, I didn't get that. Was she talking about men trying to help and the woman saying no?
Yes. He said even when the man tries to help, support, and be there, most women are too super women in nature and have been blinded by their ego.
Good luck to them. That's all I can say.
I still need help. So we have Adeyo Sola Ogunboye. He said, I hope men are on this platform. Yes, we have men, and they've been sending in their own comments too.
Hold on. Let me say something. Based on the comments we're getting, I think people are thinking we're being biased. Okay, first thing first, me as a woman, I have to be biased. I'm not gonna lie. And if you actually want to be logical, look at this thing logically, you can see that we, the women, are always at the receiving end, which is why we're talking like this. We're not saying there are no men that are being abused. There are. We're not saying there are no men that are being cheated on. There are. But if you want to talk about the ratio, obviously the women are more on the receiving end, which is why we're talking like this. But having said that, it doesn't mean that it is right from any end. It is wrong. Be it the woman doing it or the man doing it, it is wrong. So we're not being biased here. We're just talking based on experiences we've heard and the ones that we know about. Yeah.
So, but we're just going to have a man come on. We are going to have a man come on. He's a doctor, so he's going to talk from the male aspect, and also he's going to talk about prevention of, this discussion that we're having concerning divorce. So let's go straight. Let me read all the comments so that we'll, go back to the issue of the separation part. So we have Caleb Sabo say, nice one. Adeoluwa says, the amount of time and energy used to train a female child should also be used to train the male child. I think we all have a better result in marriage. That is true. That is another angle.
Thank you so much.
We have a lot of dysfunctional men.
we mothers, we need to do better when it comes to raising our boys. We ourselves, we have a lot of unlearning to do. We grew up with some what do you call it, some things that they have told us growing up that is making us raise the same kind of men. You know, there are women of our generation who are raising the boys to think that it's not their duty to do anything around the house, which is actually wrong. You know, you have to treat the man the way you treat the woman. It should be balanced. You shouldn't separate. You cannot do the dishes or you cannot sweep. Everybody should do it. If your son wants to learn how to cook, let him learn how to cook. Let's raise better men.
That's learning how to cook is actually a survival skill. Learning how to cook is actually a survival skill.
I have this auntie that used to say, as long as you eat.
No, we should learn. I think, yes, we mothers need to do it. We need to raise. Okay, so we have doctor come up. Okay, so doctor, before you start talking, let me just read through all the other comments here, and then I'll give you the floor to talk about it. So let me just quickly read the comments we have here. Ikechukwu says, well said. Caleb says, very interesting interaction. Ikechukwu says, the rate of abuse hasn't changed. We think it's worse because people are beginning to speak up on various social media platforms, which is true. Adionwa says, well said. Onajake is actually responding to Olakweju, is saying, it is our children, not my children. I have found out by personal experience that women don't like things easy. Even if the man is ready to go the extra mile, women still don't appreciate it. I really don't think that's true.
I don't agree with that.
Okay. Olakweju says, thank you. That is why I tell people to marry someone that fears God and not just loves God. Someone with integrity doesn't break promises. That is true. There are ways to detect these characteristics. You are very correct. Tyrannos will say for problematic and brutal marriage, love, patience, forgiveness.
Okay.
Antidotes for problematic, troubled, and brutal marriage, love, patience, forgiveness. Then Dayo says, take a bath again to get energy. It works. So she's giving a recipe. Then we have, this is Yvonne. Yvonne says, Dayo, you sounding like my husband. He's always saying, bath, they cure everything.
Yeah,
like
right. Yes.
Take a cold bath. Okay, thank you all so much. For being in the comment section. So we have Doctor. So Doctor, please introduce yourself and then let's go straight into your set.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Dolamu Jawando. I'm a medical doctor. I work in the diagnostic space, and I have a bias for behavioral patterns. You know, I help people identify themselves better. I help people meet themselves, and I help people discover who they are to be able to perform better, basically.
You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you very much, Gbogbo Swagger.
So now we're talking about the dramatic increase in divorce rates. And I think you have so I want to hear from a man's perspective. And then what do you think are the ways by which we can prevent this from happening? So over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'd like to say a very, very big thank you to the first speaker. She has done excellently well with this particular presentation. And if there's a recording of this, which I think there should be, I think people should find time to come back to listen to what she said. Now, this is very, very important. This is a very important topic because some of us are very passionate about family, and we understand the consequences of divorce. And we try our best to do everything possible to make sure that we do reduce the rate of divorce. So let me pick from something she said. She said that when there are issues, instead of the two members of the party, that's the husband and the wife, or the wife and the husband, identifying the obstacle and working towards solving the problem raised by the obstacle, we start fighting each other because we think you are the obstacle or you are the problem. I think I need to say that again, because from my experience, when I've been working with families, this is responsible for more than 70% of why people divorce or why people have serious issues in their marriages, from my experience in the last few years. When there are issues, people don't get to the root of the issues. They start thinking they are the issues. So instead of picking on that issue of infidelity, you start picking on your spouse. Instead of picking on that issue that is economic, you start picking on your spouse. Then some of us try to hide behind the finger while trying to pass across messages. And this thing kind of like escalates and makes it bigger and makes it more difficult for us to resolve. So if a lot of couples can understand that you are not the issue, neither am I, and begin to look towards the real issues that are causing that problem, we would have solved about 70% of the problems.
That's true.
As easy as what I said is, it's actually a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
If you don't know yourself, if you don't know what makes you, if you don't know what your strengths are, if you don't know what your triggers are, if you don't know those things that have made you happy, if you don't know those things that have made you sad, if you are not in alignment with the realistic dreams that you set for yourself, you would always be in conflict with yourself. That's why, like I like to tell people, you need to have a meeting with yourself. You need to have an agenda. You need to sit down and talk to yourself. Who am I? Today is the 24th of July, 2021. Who am I? Where am I going? How far have I gone? Just you. There's over familiarity between you and yourself. You've taken yourself for granted. And your fears know you well. And your fears will always come out in a way that you will continue to focus on those fears. And you keep on thinking you're less than yourself. I'm a doctor. You were one sperm out of 1,000,000 sperms that made it without your consent. So why do you think you can't make it now? It's because you haven't been able to identify who you are.
Yeah, true.
Most men don't know who they are. I'm hustling, I'm making money, I'm working for the family. I am. Who are you? Money might not even be your value for the first instance. Family might not be your values. And our values, in fact, we are all an embodiment of our past. We are a hamper, we are a bouquet of all the things that have happened in our past. For those of you that pray with your parents, you would notice that you pray like your parents. So we love like our parents love. So we will have to go back to find out, why do I beat my wife? Why cheat on my husband? These are those questions that need to come up in the meeting with you.
Yeah.
Then you begin to know who you are. You begin to know your strengths. You begin to know your weaknesses. You begin to see the strengths of your partner. You begin to identify the weaknesses of your partner. You begin to align those goals. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's possible. And until we go back to personal identification, knowing who you are not who they say you are. You are who you are. Have that meeting. Do your own NPR. Score yourself. Do your own evaluation. Score yourself. Do your own appraisal. Score yourself. Some of us are not worthy to be spouses.
True.
Hard truth.
I really like what Doctor said, honestly. And sometimes I feel like it's even really unfair, because some people say, oh, they're looking for somebody who will make them happy. They're looking for somebody who will come and just give them all the happiness that they desire. I feel like it's unfair for you to put that burden on someone.
On someone.
And somebody else. It should come from you. And this is where it comes to loving yourself. If you love yourself so much, you will know that you deserve better. You will know that when you're not getting 100% of what you deserve, you will know that, okay, I shouldn't be here. Do you understand? So I love that started with having a meeting with yourself. Talk to yourself. You know, you deserve more than you're getting. This thing I'm getting, is this all I should get? If you know it's not enough for you, then I'm sorry, you move. So I totally like what Doctor said.
Doctor, I like to say you're talking good. You're hitting it right where it hurts. So over to you, Doctor.
Okay, so from a man's perspective, the truth is that there's no one straight jacket way of looking at it, because some men were raised strong, some men were raised weak. Okay, and you have to identify who you are. I'll give you an example. Anywhere I go to alone and they give me a menu to choose from, I always run into trouble. You know why? My wife is the one that picks from the menu. I don't like looking at the menu. So I'm completely reliant on my wife about what I have to eat. Sometimes I have to wait for her to come, or I can even snap it, you know, and send it to her and ask her that which one should I eat, you know? Because that is who I am. I like her to do that for me. Do you understand? And I told her, you know, this is not literal, but so what, even if it's literal? I've washed my wife's clothes since we got married.
Really?
I said so. Well, it's literal and it's not literal. My wife doesn't know how her clothes are washed since he married me.
How so, Doctor?
Wow.
You don't mind sharing?
Some of these men we need. Some men left
I take
the
it. Everything dry cleaning in the house is my work.
Wow.
So I get her clothes to the dry cleaner. I make sure they get back. I arrange them for her. And she comes and she picks them up. She doesn't know when he goes to the dry cleaner. She doesn't know when he gets back. She doesn't know how much it costs. I'm the one that just sorts that out.
Wow.
Because I also don't know how my food gets on the table. But my food is always on the table. So if I believe that my food will always be on the table, she should also believe that her clothes will always be ready. Now, like I said, it's not literal, but it's also literal. But so what? Because you see, sometimes, like I said, for men, it's different. But one thing that is fundamental is that when you find out who you are, you would be able to find out who your spouse is. You will know if he's strong. You know if he is weak. You know if he has money issues. You know if he has complex issues. You know if he's running away from failure. You would also know if he's running towards success. You would know. For a man running away from failure, you don't want to put him under pressure. You don't want to remind him of his failures. Your husband is overweight and you say it every day. Why are you not doing something about it? You understand? Why are you not doing it? Why are you not saying anything about it? When you now come into the therapy room, you now start saying everything we're supposed to have said at home before coming. Do you understand? Your wife is whack from your own perspective when it comes to having sex. So why didn't you talk about it in the room? Why are you coming to the therapy office to talk about it? The therapist is not going to stand at your back and be like, hey, no. We're going to sit down and allow both of you talk to each other. But you see, if you
it boils down to communication.
Yes, but I don't want to make it as easy as that. It actually boils down to communication. But that communication is born out of first knowing who you are. Then you know who your spouse is. Then you're able to communicate. Because I can be shouting at you from morning till night, and you won't even hear anything I'm saying.
I was just going to say, to me, I don't even think it's communication. I think it's comprehension. It's different. See, it's one thing for you to keep talking, and it's another thing for the person to understand you. Do you understand? You can keep talking from now till tomorrow. If I don't get what you're saying, there's no communication. So it's more of understanding. Do you understand? Is it both ways? If you talk to me, do I understand you? And you know, sometimes, my early days of when I first got married, I realized that when we have a conflict and we're trying to solve it, we're always in a hurry to make a point. So you're talking, I'm really not listening. I'm just waiting for you to finish so I can hammer my own point. Do you understand? So there's no communication. I'm not understanding you. If I was listening to you to understand what you're saying, I'll probably get your point. I won't even have to make another point. Do you understand? So I think it's more of comprehension than let's understand each other, not just communicate and nobody's getting. We're not getting.
Okay, so let's take some of the comments. So we have Adeoluwa say, welcome, sir. Sweet Oster says, look towards the real issue. We have others say, human others say, wow. Adeoluwa says, true, 100%. Self-evaluation, this is others saying, self-evaluation and self-awareness are absolutely key. Madam Oluwafunlayo says, self-evaluation is key. Yvonne says, wow, easy, yet very difficult. Or it's very easy to point to a person than look inwards. Olapeju says, yes, preach. Adeola says, choking truth. Tirana School says, thanks, doctor. Oh, this is Yoruba. Sorry, I might not be able to read some deep Yoruba. So apologies. Adeya Sola says, wow, self-evaluation in this fast-pacing world. Pedro says, fantastic. Kumi says, awesome. And then we have Plenty Smiley. Dea says, is this doctor living in Nigeria? Yes, he's living in Nigeria. Doctor, over to you.
Forget the English, oh. I'm a local Yoruba boy from Lagos Island. I was raised in a community where there were loads and loads of people. But you know what? We have chosen to live the best lives. So we've read books that have been written by the best people. I mean, I just read this book recently, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Oh, I've started reading that book.
Now, when I saw that book, I had seen it about 10 times, but I didn't even bat any eyelid because I'm like, how do you give a title to a book? And this is the kind of book. Okay, but I started reading the book. Now, in a nutshell, what that book is saying is, pick the number of fucks. Forgive my French, Gbogbo Swagger. Pick the number of Fs that you want to give. If you want to give F for value, for family, give it. If you want to give F for money, give it. If you want to give F for peace of mind, give it. If you want to give F for your health, give it. Which means once you have chosen the things you want to give an F about, the other things don't matter. A saying I read one time that says, for those whose hearts are right with God, nothing else matters. I'll say that again in singular. For the person whose heart is right with God, nothing else matters, because all of your trust is in God. Yeah. Once your heart is right with God, you will know that you can lose $1 billion and you will make $1 billion back because your heart is right with God. So once you're in tune with your own purpose, with your own reality, you understand? Some people walk out in the morning and walk out at night. People will talk. What's he looking for? Always joking, talking. He has chosen to give an F about his health. And he doesn't care what any or every other person would say. So if you have chosen that for your family, if you have chosen to wash your wife's clothes because it makes her happy, or it just takes out the stress out of her way, if you have chosen to serve your partner in a particular way, if that's what you've chosen, it doesn't matter what other people think. And there's no man masculinity anywhere. It's a feel-good feeling. It doesn't exist. We get into trouble. And the only people that can help us are our wives.
Exactly.
That's the truth. That's the truth. The only person, I hosted a few guests today, and people ask me, what do you do this? I'm like, that's my wife. That's my wife. How do you? Look, I got back into Abuja at about 2 a.m. yesterday. The Airpeace flight left Lagos at about past midnight. You understand? And I got home about 3 a.m. and I still had to get up today and get some things together for the people that were hosting. You understand? She took care of everything. I didn't like the speed with which some of the fried meat was coming out. But I told her only once, babes, what's going on? Instead of saying, where is the fried meat now? Why is the meat not coming out? I said, babes, is there anything I can do to help that fried meat to come out faster?
Wow.
Is that comprehension or communication, Madam Musa?
It is respect, I think. It is mutual respect. How you put it to her.
The quality of your question determines the quality of your answers. If I had said, why is the meat not coming out faster? She would just answer me, it will come out. But now, what can I do to make the I mean, even when she's cooking in the kitchen and I'm hungry, I'm like, babes, did you call me? You know? And she just starts laughing that I didn't call you, your food will soon be ready. Do you understand? It's all just part of it. So choose what is important to you. Choose what you give an F about. Choose what your values are and stick with it. You will be remembered for that. Yeah. So there's no man masculinity anywhere. Do you understand? We break down. And sometimes we want to hear the truth, the whole truth. But now, these are for people who are on the second floor, third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor of their marriages, of their relationships. For some people, they've been married for 10 years, but they are not even on the first floor yet. Yes, it's possible. You've been married for 5 years, you have 3 kids, but you still don't have that relationship because you haven't evaluated yourself. You haven't found out who you are. You haven't found out who your spouse is. And that way,
so let's take some comments here because there's the comments that Olapeju actually wrote down. But before then, I'll take Yvonne says, I'm sure he is. My husband does say he's very domestic. I'm not. That is, see, both of them know each other. The husband is domestic, the wife is not. So they have a balance because they know each other. So Olapeju says, we also need to think about the reason why some people don't feel confident to speak freely to their spouse about their deep thoughts, except in the presence of a therapist. That is worrying. It says running away from failure and running towards success. Wow. Mamu says comprehension is a key component of communication. Most times spouses listen to reply than to understand.
Exactly.
Yvonne says I read it too. Adeoluwa says e no go gree. Some men will leave that masculinity feeling for them because they start playing the feminism card.
I think if I can just come in there again.
Very, very funny. I'm actually very legit too at the same time.
Okay, I'm not very competent to speak on that on feminism, so I'll just keep quiet for now. But let me come back to help people. Now, how do you discover yourself, and how do you discover your spouse? Madam Musa had said that most of us listen to reply. We don't listen to understand. Now, don't listen to me from the surface. You can write this down if you want to. Then begin to pay attention to yourself. When people are talking to you, do you listen to reply? Or do you listen to understand? Let me touch on a slightly touchy issue, and please forgive me if I touch any nerve here. When your pastor talks to you, do you listen to understand? Or do you listen to reply? Now, when your spouse talks to you, do you listen to understand? Or do you listen to reply? Now, in the first instance, most of us listen to the man of God to understand. That's why even when the man of God is not present, he's not in the room, he's kilometers away from where you are, you see people standing up for the men because they stood to understand when those people were talking to them. Try it out with your husbands. Try it out with your wives. You won't believe what strength you would be deriving from doing that. So let's just try to just pay attention to yourself. The next time you have any conversation, be it with your colleagues in the office, be it with your spouse, be it with, just pay attention for 1 week. Then you will know who you are. Until you begin to listen to understand, you won't develop those aha moments that would resonate with your personality, that will now allow you to adopt those new learnings, to be able to implement them in order to get a better outcome. So let's try to listen to understand. There are times that I finish discussing with my wife when I get to the office, then I want to send a text message. I'll have coined that text message like 10 times. I'll adjust it. I'll now just send her a message. Babes, you believe that I'm trying to give you my own part of that story. I'm trying to give you the piece of my mind, and I'm not succeeding in putting it together. I've adjusted the message like 10 times. Maybe when we get to, we'll adjust it together and read it together. Do you understand? That means I'm upset.
Yeah.
I still don't agree with you, but I'm not also able to pass that message across properly. Now, if she understands me, she knows that this guy is still burning. He's still doing pepper jam for him. All right? And he wants to get clarity. He wants to put an end to that particular discussion. And when we get back, we're able to talk about it. Look, if you're not free with your spouse, then that foundation is empty. Now, are there bad spouses? There are plenty.
Yeah.
There are plenty. And this simply means that people are dealing with so many issues.
Yeah.
There was a couple I intervened with, and the guy said, "Doctor, I do business, I work, I make money. I just knew something was missing. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew something was missing." He was living in the house with his wife, with his kids. They were having a very terrible relationship, but he didn't even think that was the problem. Until we went through some exercises and discovered that his value was family. So everything was working apart from family. So there was a gap. But he didn't know what that gap was. So we have to know who we are. We have to know what our values are. There's so many exercises you can look for online to be able to help you. You know, for instance, the popular one is the 5 love languages. How do you determine your love language?
Yeah.
There's so many psychology surveys online, you know, that you can undertake just to be able to discover who you are. It works, and it's here in Nigeria, and it's available, and it's extremely useful. If you don't know who you are, you can't help your spouse. And if your spouse doesn't know who you are, he can't help you.
Okay, so we're going to take other comments. So I was laughing earlier because there's a message directed to you, Doctor. And the school says, "Doctor, your wife needs air fryer." So that the meat will come out on time.
Come out early, right?
Okay, so Yvonne says, "Oh God, she's okay. Come and hear. Oh, I am your gift." Okay, I think she's calling on her husband to come and listen on this discussion. So Yvonne says communication skills. Adeomi Gbogbo says truth. Like what we're saying is true. Then Huma Oda says, "This is actually really therapeutic. There is room for growth and change only if we are willing to do a self-appraisal and tell ourselves the absolute truth." This is correct. Olapeju says, "I also find that some people use the same tactics at work, in the home. At work, a lot of people just talk to make sure they contribute their own ideas, and they are usually celebrated for this." Sherifat Ishola, really nice. Kudos to everyone. Over to you, Doctor. This part about, I also find that some people use the same tactics at work, in the house. At work, a lot of people just talk to make sure they contribute their own ideas. They are usually celebrated for this. So is it like they contribute their ideas and that is my idea, let's do it? Or it's is it like a teamwork thing? Maybe you would explain further, because I really don't get that picture.
I don't know if I get her correct. The thing is more of they just want to be heard. Do you understand?
Oh, I see.
Especially when it comes to a meeting, they just want to be heard. Like, let me say my own voice too. The point they might be making, maybe somebody else has even made that same point, but you know, just because they will now rephrase the thing and do it in their own, they will now rephrase the thing and say it in their own language to make it seem like just so they can be heard. So they are not listening to anybody. They are just saying their own opinion. So to
I get that. So Tirana School says interpretation, call yourself to a meeting with yourself. Call yourself intestine and liver. My mother will say inner self to a meeting to discover yourself and recover yourself. Mamu says spouses must deliberately and intentionally decide to make their families different.
Yeah, I agree with that last speaker. It has to be intentional. It's not it's not going to be a fluke, you know. And it takes time. It could take about a month. It could take a year. It could take more than a year, you know. And because you have been married, this is also something that is very important. Because you're married, you have kids. You've been married for 5 years. Doesn't make you an expert in marriage.
That's true.
You can still go back to your marriage counseling class. Marriage counseling class is not for pre-maritals only.
That's true.
You can go back.
So it's a continuous journey. It's a continuous process.
That's correct. And you can go into therapy.
Every day, we as individuals, we evolve. And as we evolve, we want probably something different, something new. So coming together is something that, you know, is continuous. It's not just a one-stop thing.
Yes, and particularly if the issues in year 1 are still the issues in year 5, then there's something wrong. That's a hard knock or a hard nut to crack. So don't feel like you're too old to even go into therapy. You understand? There are couples therapy. You carry out exercises. Some people don't know the food that their spouses like. They don't. They've been married. They sleep on the same bed. Do you understand? Marriage for me is the marriage of the two hearts. It's not even physical. It's the marriage of the two hearts. When the two hearts are together, you understand? When the two hearts are together, you would move mountains. So you must have that relationship. He's my guy. I know him. Do you understand? And I saw your husband. I know. That's how he does. Every time. It's always. Why is he always? Is he battling something too? Was he abused as a child? Do you understand?
Childhood trauma.
Yeah. You see, like I'm saying again, we are all made up of our past. If you are 30 years old, you have 30 years experience of your past. And see now, I tell people that I was raised in Lagos Island. I'm a correct area boy from Lagos Island. Do you understand? But imagine that was all. Imagine that was all I had in my 40 years experience. I won't be this quality. So whoever married that version of me would definitely not get the best. Except they're lucky to listen into this kind of YouTube talk. That, so there's something I can do about these things. Do you understand? See, it's not natural. It's not normal to be shouting. It's not. He's always shouting. Always. She's always shouting. Always. It's not normal. There's something going on. There's something on the lining that is playing. And if you don't eject that wrong thing that is playing, if you don't uninstall that poor software, you can't install an effective one. Let me say that again. All of us are playing at some level of softwares. All right? Some of us are on level 1.0. Some of us are on mega 10.0. Do you understand? If you don't uninstall the bad one, you can't install the good one. And there would always be gaps. Do you understand?
You're correct.
Let me tell you how hard it is. You know how to cook jollof rice, right? Imagine somebody is trying to, and you know your jollof rice is the Niger jollof. All right? Then somebody is trying to tell you that there's a better way to cook jollof rice.
Like Ghana jollof.
It will be hard. You'll get into a competition immediately. What do you mean? Cook your own, let's see. I'll cook my own. So I would. But see how hard it is for someone to change your mind about something you understand perfectly. You've made the best jollof. In fact, everybody knows that there's this jollof rice called Gbogbo Swagger jollof. Then somebody's now trying to teach you a better way to cook that jollof rice. You won't agree.
I will fight hard. I will tell the person you don't know what you're doing. Do you know how long I've had this recipe? Do you know how many years?
Even my mother used to, and I learned from my mother.
It was passed down.
Can you see how deep our behaviors have been entrenched?
Yeah, correct.
So that's how hard it is for those things to be changed. And that's the work that we all need to do. And if you succeed on that journey of self-evaluation, wow, you will have broken unbelievable barriers. You will have learned the best ways to do things. And you begin to enjoy exceptional peace. Do you know when I realized that my neighbor parking their cars anyhow they want to park it, that it would disturb me, since I realized that I could park anywhere else? Do you know the kind of peace I've been enjoying? Do you understand? That I don't have to park at his back. I don't have to go and knock on his door. I don't have to. Now, that was an issue with my wife. But I told her that, babes, I park anywhere. And what do you really want to do? You want to park. Is that not all you want to do?
That's what you want to do.
Park your car in a safe place. That's all you want to do. So there's no my space. Do you understand? If you want my space, you go and buy your house. Do you understand? But when I realized that, and when my wife realized that she could park anywhere else, she started enjoying that level of peace. So choose what you give your F's about. Choose what is important to you. Understand yourself, and you'll see that you would. A lot of things that we think are important are not important. I spoke to somebody else recently. The person said, my husband doesn't mean well for me. My husband. I'm like, yeah, okay. All right. Take this piece of paper and pen. Can you write down the things your husband does to you that proves to you that he wants to kill you? Say, yes, I can. She wrote 2. 5 minutes later, I said, go on. 7 minutes, go on. 10 minutes, she could write only 2. Because I told her not to repeat any. So when we started talking, say, hey, boy, see this number 1. This number 1 has like 100 branches. This number 1 has like, do you know what is happening there? She has focused on that one problem. And everything you focus on grows.
Yeah.
It will begin to magnify. It will begin to magnify. To magnify. You will now think he's doing 100 things to you. Meanwhile, he's just that same one thing. Do you understand? That's why when people say things like, Nigerian economy is a challenging economy. Okay, someone invited me to speak on sustainable growth in a challenging economy. I said, I can define sustainable growth, but I can't define a challenging economy. I can define the challenges in the economy. That way we would list the challenges in the economy: light, security, employment. And once you're able to list it, you can now begin to tackle them one after the other after you have unbundled it. All right? So when you say your husband is bad, he's a very bad man, his family is bad, it will be difficult for you to see anything good. And if you are still sleeping on the same bed, that means there's something good. So you need to identify, there's nothing called a bad husband. There are husbands that do bad things. What are those bad things? Do you want to list them out? Do you want to tackle them one after the other? Do you know that I can tackle one and that one will tackle 3 other ones? But you have to be able to identify these things. But when you do a ballpark of challenges that you have, it becomes more difficult for you to solve those problems. Yeah, it becomes more difficult for you to solve those problems. You have to unbundle it. Do you understand?
Yes.
She doesn't cook well. She doesn't cook well, so she doesn't even respect me. She doesn't even care about how I feel. She doesn't treat me well because she doesn't cook well. How will I come and be eating food that is not sweet? It's not fair. I work very hard. I provide for my family. Are you seeing how a lot of things are going around food? I can't invite my friends home to come and eat. She will cook this nonsense food. They will give them food. They will start to say that, see, the food kind of food is my wife give. Are you seeing how one problem is multiplying? Do you understand? But what stops you both? The only thing that will help both of you is when you're able to sit down to talk about that issue. And you'll only be able to talk about that issue when you understand each other and when you're able to comprehend your conversations. And when you tell her that, babes, I think I've been eating out a lot lately. There's something going on. Do you understand? You just have to find how to talk to each other. And you have to find out how to understand what both of you are talking about. There's no problem you cannot solve. And these divorce rates would come down when there's increased understanding. Unfortunately, we all get married for all the other reasons apart from the real reasons.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Madam Musa mentioned a number of those things. We're all interested in the wedding. Nobody thinks about the marriage. The marriage is a lot of work. You know, there's no crowd in the marriage. There's a big crowd at a wedding, right?
After everybody has eaten the rice and they've actually taken juice, they will now say, this is the point that we have seen it. This is the point of no return. Oh yeah, the two of you. Oh yeah, move and go and make it work. So I think more emphasis should be on the marriage than on the wedding. Doctor, we are bringing you back.
Hold on. There's no actually in the marriage.
There's no actually.
There's no makeup artist in a marriage.
There's no event planner.
There's no event planner in a marriage. There's you. Okay. And there's
doctor,
a lot of
we
you.
have Doctor, let's quickly take questions, and I think you have to come back on the show because they've demanded for you. So I'll take other questions and comments, and then I will come back to your demand because I think you are you're in high demand right now. So we have Olapeju say, Gbogbo Swagger jollof. Okay, come for the recipe. So Olapeju says, we need to focus on what is important. We will enjoy, we need to focus on what is important. We would enjoy a better life. That is true. We have Madame Lami Ishaku say, we go into marriage with all kinds of fairy tales. Couples must be intentional and be prepared to make it work. Empathy is key. Okay, Madame Lami Ishaku, that's Candy's mom. Shout out to Madame Lami. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming on the show. And your comment is very, very legit, coming from the older generation. We go into marriage with all kinds of fairy tales. Couples must be intentional and be prepared to make it work. Empathy is key. Adeoluwa says, we would need a separate session with Doctor. Doctor, please, you are coming back on the show live. There's high demand for you. So we will need a separate session with Doctor. A lot of things needs to be discussed at length, and that is true. Babatunde Popola says, you may have to bring Doctor on men's only discussion on marriage. Doctor, you are coming back. And I always thank you because when I call on you, you do not say no. So you are coming back. So we have to do this. I like his perspective on marriage. And I think there are some discussions that we would benefit from when we are alone, winks. So that's from the male species. Adewumi Gbogbo says, what we focus on grows. Yeah, Doctor, you mentioned that. Real talk. Beautiful application with the Nigerian economy. Excellent. I love the solution on Park Anywhere. Peace of mind. Hashtag peace of mind. Hashtag live long. You don't have to dwell on that problem. You can look for another way to resolve it. What is the issue? I want to park my car. That is it, and that is what we're dealing on. So these are the comments. Thank you all so much for your comments. And then, Doctor, Doctor, I think you should just tell every one of us that you are coming back on the show. We're bringing you back for a live session with the men. What do you say to that?
I'll be more than glad to do that. I'll be more than glad to come back here. You know, to a large extent, I'm a product of a wonderful marriage. and I'm trying my best to build a wonderful marriage. And I'm dedicating, in fact, this is not just me now. My wife and I are dedicating our lives to helping more people build better marriages. Now, that's because what is more roller coaster than roller coaster? That's where my wife and I started from. Our marriage was roller coasterically, roller coasterically, if I can use that. Where we were, you know, I mean, one thing that we used to say is that, yeah, are you not listening? You're not listening. Are you not listening? But apparently she couldn't hear me.
Wow.
You understand? She couldn't hear me. She couldn't hear me. And you know, when we now finally get to talk, you now hear things like, you see, I've said all these things before, but you don't listen. That was her telling me. So see me thinking she doesn't listen. Meanwhile, I don't listen because we're both talking to respond. So because we've gone from that very poor foundation to the fantastic foundation that we are building today, because we're not there yet, to the fantastic relationship that we have now and that we are building on, then we believe that we could help a lot more people, you know, mend their relationships and even have better marriages than we are having right now. Because yes, she did say that we could go our separate ways if it's not working. She said that more than 3 times. You understand? But me, I knew I wasn't going anywhere anyway. So I didn't have any choice. Who would take care of me? Come on. I didn't even want to. I can't even think about it. So I had to go out and look for everything possible to make sure that we learned the right way. And it wasn't an easy journey at all. We dedicated Sundays for about 2 years, you know, in therapy, just trying to build what we have today. And we thank God for that. And we believe that a lot more people, if they find the right information, they would heal and they would help the world to heal. So I'll be happy to come back, Gbogbo Swagger.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. There's one thing that you said that really stood out for me. You said when your wife told you so many, like 3 times that she's no longer doing, she's done, you said no, you fought for the marriage. So I think each and every one of us, for those people that are thinking about getting married, during the period of courtship, what are you guys doing? You need to talk. You need to have conversation. You need to know each other. You need to have that self-evaluation. Who am I? And all of that. Who is my spouse? So all of that you need to do. And for those of you that are actually in a troubled marriage right now, all the things we've discussed today, sit back. This video is going to be up on my channel. You can go back and watch it again. Share with people that are having troubled marriage. Let them learn. And also, fight for your marriage, because commitment, you've made that commitment. Commitment is key. And when you're committed to something, you will look for a way to make it work. So a lot of people are just like, I'm done, because they're not committed to it. But once they're committed to it, that this is my husband, this is my wife, this relationship will work, it will work. So thank you so much, Doctor, for that. Thank you so much. So I will just take these comments that we have, and then we'll just do like a recap. Thank you, Doctor. Doctor is coming back again. And we're going to have a session with him concerning deep talk about marriage. So we're going to talk about everything about marriage. Candy, you've done an awesome job. Thank you so much. So Yvonne says very true.
I might be excused to leave the room now so I can go back to my party.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Permission granted. Bye, Doctor. Okay, so we have Yvonne. Yvonne says, very true. I remember holding on to my husband's weaknesses. Men, I thought I was married to the wrong person. The day I identified the good, it outweighed the challenges. Yes, we talked. This is a live testimony. Dayo says, learned a lot. Thanks to the team. Thank you so much, Dayo, for coming on the show. Thank you so much for being here on the live show, and also for sending in your comments and your thoughts too. Yvonne says, and it's better than where we were. I know that you guys will keep growing stronger and stronger, and you will keep progressing in your marriage. Yvonne said, so much learned from just minutes. Amazing, eye-opening. Please, Doctor has to be back. He has said he's coming back. We need to pick his brain on a steady. Definitely, that's going to happen. Thank you, Clark. Thank you so much for that. Ayo Bogbade, thank you for coming on the show. Your message was retracted. Adeoluwa said, thank you so much, Dr. and Mrs. Candy. Thank you so much. So I think we should just wrap up this conversation. And then next week, Wednesday, we are having another live session. This time around, we are talking about something very, very, very funny, because we are going back in the days. Everybody's going to come, bring your book, your pen, and then bring up all those stories that you went through, back in the days. So we are going back in the days to have that discussion. Very soon you'll see the flyer out. So this particular live session or video is going to be on my channel. Share it with as much as people that you have that has troubled marriages. Share it with them, and also even you can come back to watch and take a lot of things from. Candy said a lot of deep things. Doctor said a lot of deep things. So this material is evergreen. Candy, over to you.
Oh, well, we've said it all. So basically, just to cap up, marriage is on its own is not easy. So from the onset, like I said, from the foundation, you just have to get it right from the foundation. Make sure you're getting into it for the right reasons. Don't get into it for the wrong reasons. And the moment you get the foundation right, the journey will become, I'm not saying it's not going to be bumpy, but at least it will make it easier, so to say.
Thank you so much for that. So we're going to go back to what Cyrano Scoot said about domestic violence and the issue of separation. So I think when, as much as possible, maybe if you're having a troubled marriage and your spouse is beating you either mentally or physically, I think you should just step out from that. We don't want you dead and all of that. We don't want you either brain dead or dead literally, or even like your mind will work, or probably you don't have self-esteem any longer. We don't want that for you. So step out and look for people that you trust. All the things that Doctor talked about, self-evaluation, your husband too needs to go and have that self-evaluation, pray about it, and then see if you can reconcile and come back together, because divorce is not the option. You need to fight for your marriage, and you need to fight for that love that you profess to each other. And as much as possible, please, 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 even if you are married for the wrong reasons, you can turn your story around and have a very wonderful and fantastic marriage. So I will take some comments that we have here, and then we will sign out. So Adeoluwa says, thank you so much, Doctor and Mrs. Candy. Yvonne says, wow, roller coaster. Gbogbo says, it takes teamwork, hard work, commitment. Thank you all. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for re-emphasizing that. Mamu said, huge thanks to Madam Candy and Doctor for your time and perspective. God's blessing. Thank you so much. Gbogbo Swagger for putting this up. Thank you. More grace, strength for more wins. Amen. Thank you so much. Ola Pedro, this was really good. Thank you so much, Candy, Doctor, and Swagger for putting this together. Thank you so much for being on this live show together. Thank you so much. Christ Family Evangelical Mission says, thank you so much, Dr. and Mrs. Musa. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for joining in. Sweet Oster, thank you, host and everyone, for an amazing life journey. Oh, sorry. Thank you, host and everyone, for an amazing live session. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to all my subscribers. Candy, thank you for coming on the show. Doctor, thank you for coming on the show. And to every one of you, stay true to yourself, be the best version of you, and hold on to your marriage. Make it work. Till I see you next time, this is Gbogbo Swagger, and this is Swagger's Lifestyle. Thank you. Love you. Thank you, Candy. Be good. See you next week, Wednesday. We're sure going to have a blast. Bye.
Bye.
Bye then. Okay, the live session has ended. Thank you so much. You all take care. Signing out now. Okay, so I'm waiting for the host to end this. And thank you so much to my amazing mom. She helped me put this. Mr. Sheku, thank you so much. All the team that worked on this, thank you so much. Chinemeze, thank you so much. You are here. You are still here doing this. Thank you so much. God bless you. So to my mom, please, could you just end the session now? Thank you. I think she's somewhere doing the Lord's work. Yvonne, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Let me see what I can do. Just can I do it? Okay.
Mommy, we
I
are live.
can see you. I can see you here.
Mommy, we are still live. We are still live. We can hear what you're saying.
Oh,